Well, hi, I'm the Robert Knoll. This is the E Open Blues Journey, Part 7. Wow. This is going to be stepping outside a little bit of the other 6 videos where we dealt with the major scale, major blues scale, the minor scale, the minor blues scale. This lesson, we're dealing with something a little outside, okay? Now, this is, I'm a little different, right? I'm not like your other guitar teachers or other musicians. But in the blues, dealing with blues, in the traditional way of playing blues, whether it's Delta blues, acoustic blues, finger-picking blues, electric blues, the classic traditional blues comes from the classic blues scale, which is the minor blues scale, sometimes the major blues scale, sometimes dealing with the other scales in combinations. As a modern blues guitarist, blues guitar philosopher, the open E area or any key that we're in, any form or any landscape or part that we're in, I look at it as the Trinity, chord, scale, arpeggio, but I also look at everything as a 12-tone scale. So our music system's based on a 12-tone scale. And then the increments of the 12-tone, which goes to 12-tone to 24 to 48. Okay, you can go on and on. But the basic 12-tone scale intervals is what I base my guitar philosophy, my guitar science around. Makes me different than other teachers, okay? We're talking about, in this series that I'm doing, this journey, is the open E area. The open E area means we're dealing with open strings and we're dealing with open first position, which is really open fret to the 4th fret, extending to the 5th fret. So all of my scales, all of my arpeggios and chords I've been showing you in previous videos are pretty much dealing with this area, with this landscape, with this geography of standard tuning. It's not an E tuning. We have different guitar tunings, which I'll get into with other videos. This is a standard tuning, and we're dealing around the E chord, the E minor chord, the E7 chord, the E9 chord, all the types of E chords, major and minor, and also diminished and augmented. We're going to be dealing whole tone scale. It has reference to the augmented scale, and we're going to be dealing with the augmented chord, augmented arpeggio, dealing with whole tones. When we get into this journey, it's different sounding. There are other musicians, but mostly in the jazz world, Thelonious Monk, Coltrane, Bird, and Claude Debussy in the composer world. There's certain musicians and composers that have dealt with this whole tone scale. It's different sounding, it's outside, but I believe, to me, it's blue. There are blue tones involved here because some of the notes, the dissonance that occurs in the whole tone scale, it gives you that feeling, that emotion of something's not right, it's outside the other scales. It's causing dissonance, it's causing friction, it's causing my emotions to be, wow, what's going on? To me, that's part of the blues, but it's the modern blues thinking that I call it, okay? Let's look at what whole tone. Start on open E, we go to F sharp, that's a whole tone. From F sharp to G sharp is a whole tone. If I keep going up the E string, we would be going to B flat or A sharp, whole tone, and then to C, to D, and then we're back to E. If we play E open and we go to the F sharp and then we go to the G sharp whole step, and then we're going to extend a little bit out because we're going to go to the B flat. Now we could do that here also, but I want you to see a certain shape of whole tone. So once again, E, F sharp, G sharp, A sharp, or B flat. Now, I'm going to change my fingering. I'm here at this B flat. I'm going to use this fingering open, 1, 3, 3, and then 1, 3 again. Then I'm going to go to C, D on the A string. Then I'm going to go to back to E, F sharp, G sharp, B flat, C, D, back to E. And if I kept going, it would be F sharp, G sharp, A sharp, C, D, back to E, if I extended it. Using this fingering, I can see that I have a shape going. I have this. There's my open whole tone scale for you. Could have played some of those notes like this A flat down here. And then I could have gone to my C here. And then an open D. Yeah. E. So there's F sharp. I'm going to go to my G sharp, my B flat, my C, my D, my open E. There's alternate fingerings. We can bring in that open D. But basically, look at the intervals that we're dealing with in the key of E. If we go from E to F sharp, that's a major second, right? When we go to the G sharp, that's a major third. So we've got a major third going on here. But then when we go to the B flat, wow, what have we got? That's that tritone. That's that flat 5. Right. So, and then when I go to C in the key of E, that's the minor 6. Right? So I've got tritone, I get to C, and that's my minor 6. And then I get to the D, which would be the minor 7, a blue tone, okay? We can call it. So once again, root, major second, major third, tritone, minor 6, minor 7, or dominant 7, and then we're back to root. Major second, major third, tritone, minor 6, minor 7, root. Wow, outside. Now I'm using all my other scales, my major and my blue scales, but listen what happens. So start to hear the outside tones, that minor 6, weird, the tritone, it's always bizarre, the 7, the blues. We have blues in this whole tone scale. I'm going to start the arpeggio with the open, the E. We've got root. I'm going for the 4th finger is playing the major third. I've got a minor 6. I've got a root, I've got another major third, I've got another minor 6, and then I've got back to root. So in open position, there's my E. So that minor 6 is the augmented 5th. Major third, minor 6, augmented 5th, root. Major third, augmented 5th or minor 6, augmented 5th. mixing up scales, but I'm trying to get you to hear. See this chord, E, G sharp, C. You see my chord? My chords I'm looking at are, ooh, and that's movable, you know, right? What a shape, 4, 3, 2, 1, and I'm borrowing the first finger for that top augmented fifth or minor sixth. And then I use my third finger, first finger for the G sharp, the C with my second finger, and then have an open E. And that is basically, if we were to use this as a movable form, go to F sharp here, and you use second finger, third finger, first finger. So you see the shape here. 4, 2, 3, 1. So that's movable in whole steps. And then back to the open form I showed you. Likewise, these are moved. Move up a whole. Now I'm back to and back. This is weird stuff. You've got to get into the sound. If you hear the outside, the weirdness, the outside of you've got major tonality, but you've got that minor 6, which is that augmented fifth, +5. And you've got that very special major third. So I love getting into that outside sound and mixing it with the other scales. So I wanted to show you something really different that I don't think other blues guitar players or teachers that I know get into. In the blues, I'm saying that it's okay to bring in 12 tones. It's okay to bring in dissonance, because dissonance is part of the blues. It's like, wow, something's not right, or it sounds wrong, or this is not, it's not healthy, or whatever emotion you want to attach to it. If you're playing blues and you're playing traditional, you want to stick to traditional scales and sound like everyone else. But if you want to start sounding outside or different, being creative, why not look at a whole tone scale, a whole tone arpeggio, and the augmented chords that I showed? Playing outside, consonance and dissonance, building tension and release, utilizing my religion, the Trinity of guitar learning, guitar philosophy, scale, chord, arpeggio. It all goes together. It really does. And hopefully this lesson, this number 7, unlocks some other hearing outside, hearing the possibility of other scales, and there's a lot of other scales and modes that we could do. This series could go on to a really big number, okay? But right now we're just focusing on the basic E open scales. These are movable scales, but we're dealing with where we have open strings, open notes, okay? That's why I'm saying E open. I showed you augmented scales. I showed you augmented arpeggio, the whole tone scale. Now there's also, if you do research on this, there's major augmented. The whole tone scale is a creative journey. That's where I'm trying to take you. In the next video I do, when we get to part 8, I'm going to do another creative. Where am I going to go? Well, I'll tell you. We're going to get even more creative, or we're going to continue with our creativity with part 7. So I hope you'll stay tuned. If you haven't looked at the other videos, you need to backtrack, and you need to go back to journey 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 to see and understand really where finally I'm at 7, okay? And we're starting to step outside a little bit, get deeper in to your understanding of the theory, your ear training, and understanding of intervals, the 12-tone system, and my guitar philosophy, okay? I hope you'll give me a comment. You can ask me questions, subscribe, and if you want to be part of my guitar family, you got to go over to the Patreon, and that's where my Guitar Zone family resides, and all the charts and a lot more stuff is there, okay? Lots of great stuff to come. All right, bye for now.